Hello friends, this inspired message comes from my higher self, as Mike Kinsey says, but everyone has their own different style. After the message, I will casually discuss the news, rumors and hypotheses about what might happen tomorrow, even though we have very little reliable information. Opinion article. Historical moment. Countdown begins. Awaiting events. No one knows what will happen. A historic week begins. They are not going to wait 4 more years. Contradictory news abounds. Justice is a dish that is served cold. It's not a matter of years, but of days or weeks. If you want to live happily, don't mind being thought a fool. It doesn't matter what they think of you, as long as they leave you alone. Never enter into conflict, because it creates disharmony. 2,000 National Guard soldiers sworn in as Marshals. Walls around Wasington DC to keep people out. Hypotheses and speculations abound about what might happen. When you get tired of contradictory news, you look to yourself for answers. Let's start. We are living historic moments. We do not know what will happen, but we do know what will not happen. They are not going to wait for more years. To wait 4 more years. We know that they are going to do, but we don't know how or when they are going to do it. We don't know how long it's going to take, but we do know that it is not going to take years, but days, weeks, or 2 or 3 months in the worst case. We don't know the strategy, but we do know their intention, which is to make as smooth a transition as possible. That's why I don't expect spectacular or traumatic events in the old classic style of military uprisings in the banana republics. There is no saber rattling but electronic silence. There are not alarming shots but rather maneuvers in the shade. There are not big official statements but silence and discretion to the cheetah keeping quiet. That is why they ask us to be quiet to avoid interference. They ask us to be discreet but not secret. They ask us to be prudent but not submissive. They ask us for patience but not unconsciousness. Any street demonstration could be used as a false flag because they are used to playing dirty. Any verbal excess could be accused of a hate crime. They want to turn patriotism into false fascism. They want to turn enthusiasm into collective madness. They talk about ethnic diversity, but do not allow for diversity of opinion. They talk about sovereignty over our bodies, but do not allow the right to decide what to inject into us or not. Divide and rule. They want to divide and confront the population by accusing the healthy one of being guilty, so that each one becomes his brother's guardian and policeman. They want to accuse the awakened ones of being crazy. They want to ridicule all those who do not follow the unique official and totalitarian narrative. They want to lock up all those who are against it, as it has already begun to happen in Germany, like in the old days. They speak of democracy and want to impose a totalitarian system. They speak of negationism and they are denying us life and freedom. They speak of salvation, and they are after us. They are forcing the disseminations to become geniuses of languages. I'll repeat it. They are forcing the disseminators to become geniuses of language. They force us to learn the art of saying things without saying them, because to a good understanding, few words are enough. They force us to use euphemism, metaphor, allegory, symbolism, double meaning, and to exercise a healthy sense of humor, to avoid falling into a Greek tragedy that they want to impose on us, so that everything ends like the rosary at dawn. For a reason, the Master spoke in parables, and in spite of all, they crucified him. Some say that everything is a deception, and they may be right in part, because even the good ones use deception as a strategy. But above the human miseries is the will of the Creator to end this nightmare, because this game has already lasted too long, and we are even bored of playing because we already know all the tricks too well. The most retarded children of the class will have to leave to the battalion of the clumsy ones to restart their learning in order not to delay the evolution of the rest. They have been given all the opportunities they have, and there are still beautiful people sleeping in the woods who have not woken up, even though we princes have kissed them many times. We love them in spite of everything, but we cannot waste time because of their sleep. They will have the opportunity to start again in other more primitive worlds, and we will always be their guardian angels, because we remain brothers in spite of all that has offended us. Earth has suffered too much, and it is time for it to be freed. It is absolutely unjust, all the suffering that we have infringed upon our mother. It is absolutely cruel what has been done to our brothers in the animal kingdom. It is absolutely appalling what we have done to ourselves. We were not born to be so bad to ourselves. We are not born to humiliate and exploit our brothers. We are not born to offend, deceive, and manipulate them. We are born to honor them, cooperate, play, and enjoy their company. We have been born to care for animals and nature, and to glorify our Creator. We are not born to kill animals and destroy ecosystems, but to honor and glorify creation. We have been born to scale the high frequencies of spirituality and return to our divine origin. We have been born to manifest the kingdom, the power and the glory of the Creator. Informational stress. I have a collapsed mind from as much conflicting news as I get, and there comes a time when you get tired of processing information like a computer and turn to your inner self for answers. We can't let them drive us crazy with their news. This is precisely what they want to do in order to manipulate us. We cannot allow them to trick us with their cunning like naive and innocent children. The only weapon against iniquitous cunning is even more noble cunning, but this time it is issued from the heart and from reason, with kindness and intelligence. In reality, now there is no great news but rumors and hypotheses for all tastes. They will do what they have to do at the right time, guided by a superior intelligence, but never guided by the impatience of the population. Someday Some say that everything is a lie, and that we have been deceived like the moon or the Vatican. And they are partly right, but really doesn't move between the whole or the nothing. But there is everything in a apothecary's shop. Truths, lies, and half-truths of all kind of colors. To believe it all is stupid, but to deny it all is nihilism and suicidal pessimism. Justice is a dish that is served cold, just like revenge. But in this case, there is nothing but law, right, reason, impartiality, equity, neutrality, and equanimity, though not always the human being. According to Isadora Duncan, to the extent that children are allowed to suffer, there is no true love in this world. We cannot allow ourselves to be handled like cardboard puppets, because we are divine, free, and sovereign beings. We cannot allow them to put us in harness like dogs or horses, as they did with slaves in ancient times. We have never known such kind of humanitarian politicians. I repeat, we have never known such kind and humanitarian politicians who were so interested in our health, which give us much to think about. We cannot allow them to violate all the constitutional rights that our ancestors worked so hard to achieve. Members of this generation will have to mount not only to the hateful words and actions of bad people, but the resounding silences of good people, according to Ken Follett. We are the only ones who have the right to decide our destiny, and no one else. We are masters of our own destiny and our own body. We are sovereign over ourselves, and we do not belong to any political puppet who came to power with dirty tricks. I don't hate them because hate is a feeling, and I don't feel anything for them. To be indifferent to someone who deserves it is to condemn him in the West of contempt. Islands of light. The only way to oppose the sinister reality that they want to impose on us by force is for everyone to create their own reality, a joyful, relaxed reality freed from all oppression. The only way out is not to play their game, because there is no greater punishment than indifference for those who do not respect you. Let everyone continue to dream their own nightmares, which to us seem very tiring, but never enter into them and maintain respect, cordiality, and sense of humor. Don't say anything if they don't ask you, but if they do, tell them the truth in a friendly way. To teach respect is to teach not to do everything that means contempt for others, according to Victoria Camps. Indifference is a state of mind in which one doesn't feel inclination or repugnance toward a certain person, object of matter. We could define it as the intermediate point between appreciation and contempt. The one who is indifferent does not feel or act, he just says on the sidelines. Indifference manifests itself when a person treats another person as if he didn't exist, ignores him, or limits himself to simple answers if they meet in a conversation. Silence never manifests itself with such superiority as when it is used as a reply to a slander and defamation. According to the philosopher Seneca, if you want to live happily, don't mind being taken for a fool. It doesn't matter what they think of you, as long as they leave you alone. But tolerance and patience are more deeper and more effective, more efficiently, than mere indifference, as the Dalai Lama said. Never enter into confrontation because that creates conflict, disharmony, a loss of energy, as well as reinforcing to the opponent. Use witty humor to respond. For example, to the last person who asked me about the bag, I told him that the ticker had a work schedule, and that's why we had restricted our business hours, and he laughed. I told the truth without saying it directly. That's the way it is. It's better to come with humor than with discussion. Political news. 2,000 National Guard soldiers sworn in as special deputy marshals. Some 2,000 National Guard soldiers in Washington DC were sworn in Monday, January 18, as marshals before Inauguration Day. Chief Lamont Ruffin on the District of Columbia Court took the oath. The delegation gives the Guards temporary and limited authority to enforce the act specifically related to the safety and security of the inauguration and related events. At least 21 states have activated their National Guard troops, respectively, in capitals. Also, on Monday, January 18th, the Capitol was closed and those inside were told to stay away from windows and exterior doors, although they were allowed to continue moving inside the buildings. Due to external threat security, the western front of the Capitol, where the opening was scheduled for Wednesday, was evacuated in the morning. The head of the National Guard has personally said that there is a peaceful transition to military power, not to civilian power, according to the video broadcast yesterday by Inmaculada Fernández and Aroita Jiménez. I don't know if he left the language or if he said it on purpose, but my translation of what could happen would be neither for me nor for you. That is a military interregnum of 2 or 3 months of transition that would allow a thorough cleaning of corruption and a new election controlled by the military to avoid cheating. According to Fleming's military intelligence contact, whom I don't trust much, no president would be inaugurated and there would be an announcement of an interregnum or military transitional government until evidence of election cheating could be investigated and adjudicated by state legislature in the 6 swing states. During the weekend, the governments of Germany, Holland, Italy, Russia, and Estonia were closed, but I have no more information. In the opinion of El Diestro, that some of Simon Pack's statements are a bit off the mark, such as the martial law is to be applied throughout the country, or that there could live TV broadcasts with strangely alive characters such as perhaps JFK Jr. or Epstein, but nothing can be ruled out. A master chess move could be for the president to take advantage of that last trip on the morning of the 20th to fly to an undetermined destination and broadcast the already famous message, in quotes, "The storm is upon us," which would trigger the beginning of the military process. No one knows what might happen on January 20th, but these opinions would be viable, and this president would not go without a fight. His life is in it, his and his family's, and therefore he may have several cards up his sleeve. Something could happen in Washington on the 20th, and they are asking not to go there. And there is the possibility that false flag riots could be organized to sell to all the public opinion that it was all the fault of the patriots. 2 different sources said General Flynn is now the vice president replacing Mike Pence and was sworn in last Saturday. Attorney Sidney Powell wants that the president is surrounded by swamp orcs that are blocking all possible movements to save the republic. In her opinion, the president is not taking any action to protect the republic, since the people around him are limiting his information and lying to him about his legal options. But it is only the opinion of Sidney Powell. China tried to influence the elections. The Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, declared that China interfered in the elections according to a letter sent to Congress. Trump lawyer fired as law professor. An attorney who represented the Republican campaign in a legal challenge to the Pennsylvania election results was forced out of office last week as a law professor at California's Chapman University for representing the president as a client. This is very sectarian. Awaiting changes. There are several scenarios that can occur on Wednesday the 20th, and the most extreme consists of a fake inauguration that couldn't be celebrated abroad as is usual, nor in Congress abroad, I mean in the exterior, nor in Congress, since according to Simon Parks, the big fish wouldn't dare to be surrounded by more than 20,000 soldiers of the National Guard, but would be celebrated in some interior location, being even possible that it would be in the Supreme Court, in the office of Judge Roberts. They would then head to the White House in a caravan with supporters of the elites, but wouldn't be allowed to enter the presidential palace. Before the election, the president clarified that if there was a foreign interference in the voting, it would be declared null and void, and that he would win by default. There is now evidence that Italy, Spain, Germany, China, Canada, and the United Kingdom participated in the vote change. Scott Kesterson recently said on his Bards FM podcast that the DC military camp would actually be a detention center and that it would house military tribunals. According to Judy Bington, last weekend the Marines raided the agency headquarters in Langley. A military general who was part of the team said they came out with a lot of evidence about well-known politicians, but this is not news but rumors. He also adds that during the past weekend, an intercepted message showed the plan to attack the Pentagon generals. As a result, the Pentagon would have withdrawn its support to the agency and the Bureau. A martial law would have been declared. According to this hypothesis, there would be mass arrests of more than 500,000 people around the world. But this is a rumor only. Judy adds that there are thousands of Chinese troops stationed on the Mexican and Canadian border, as well as China's ships in international waters on the east and west coasts. But this is not news either, but rather a rumor that is widely repeated in the networks. General McKinney believes that the national emergency message button should be pressed. They say that the 10 days of darkness would begin with the transmission of the 8-hour videos 3 times a day for 10 days in a row. The videos would contain military courts filled with confessions of high-profile elite individuals. In that case, that would be the real blackout and not how much is being speculated about it. Important message from Rudy Giuliani's camp. According to Jim Wilson and Brian Anderson, who work with Giuliani, the Space Force would be involved in global blackouts we are seeing in several countries right now. It would be a test of the top secret global broadcast satellite program. A global emergency broadcast would be expected to be imminent, according to Fox News. The White House would have pushed to make this change in classification as soon as possible. That's why it would seem that President has been silent recently, because he would be waiting for this move. This program could shower any transmission system with partial beam technology to override the machinery. This program would be used to enable direct contact with all television screens for a worldwide direction, in which it would reveal the signing of multiple new executive orders that would allow a quick trial by military tribunals for those who choose disloyalty during the last week and 4 years. Deregulation. According to this According to this hypothesis, there would be 7 presidential messages that would be broadcast on the EBS on emergency broadcast system, on the global broadcast system GBS, using Space Force satellites supposedly. Robert David Steele, Simon Pax, Charles Ward, and one more person on the team would be sitting together on a panel discussion or expert committee that would be the beginning of the Great Awakening. The good people of the United States, left and right, Democrats and Republicans, white or colored, young and old, all are wishing the recovery of their homeland from the hands of a large number of very powerful characters. This is the greatest story of our time. According to Mike Kinsey, your destiny is secure, and you have earned your victory over the dark ones, who have sealed their own fate and will answer for all their crimes against humankind. Many beings of light are close by waiting for the right opportunity to present themselves, and they will bring you their knowledge and experience to help accelerate your evolution. The opportunity now exists to take full advantage of the changes that are needed to lay the foundation for a new earth that will accompany you until the event takes place. And that's all for today. I wish the best for you and take care of you. Look after you. Thank you, friends.